In 1957, the first electric watch was introduced, Spike Lee was born, a lot of nuclear testing happened on behalf of multiple countries, but most importantly, cinema was happening. 1957 is an excellent year. Of the years I've deep dived so far, I believe it's my favorite. It's got contributors from legends like Sidney Lumet, Ingmar Bergman, twice, David Lean, Yasujiro Ozu, Akira Kurosawa, twice, Charlie Chaplin, Federico Fellini, Chuck Jones. So let's see what my current favorite cinematic year has to offer. Like and subscribe. A few honorable mentions. These are great movies, but this is a year with more than 10 great movies, so a couple have to be left off. And those are The Seventh Seal, The Tin Star, and New York, New York. Alright, here's the final list. Number 10 is 3:10 to Yuma. A small-time farmer is hired to escort a dangerous outlaw to Yuma. Meanwhile, the outlaw's gang is racing to free him. Glenn Ford, I think, gives an all-timer of a performance as the outlaw Ben Wade. He captures multiple conflicting layers so well, setting up his dynamic of a man with everything versus a man with nothing, and also vice versa at the same time. There's fantastic music. Much of the score work feels kind of like location era appropriate. Not relying on a lot of orchestral stuff. And the title song being reprised, especially at the end credits, I think is fantastic. But I think the true standout is the sense of atmosphere. Time is constantly approaching 3:10, like the unstoppable and unreasonable force it is. It's the knowledge of a certain conflict with certain results, and it's the dread of a man who's out of his depth, having to face something insurmountable out of desperation. Feels almost existential. And this may be my new favorite non-silent and traditional Western, which I know is a suspicious number of qualifiers, but it is true. Number 9 is Night of the Demon / Curse of the Demon, depending on the UK or US cut. I did a spotlight video for this one over here. Professor arrives in London for a parapsychology conference, only to find out that his colleague was killed in a freak accident the night before. The professor's sights turn to the cult leader that his colleague was investigating. My favorite combination of styles, unsurprisingly, combines two of my favorite styles, horror and noir. There's not enough horror noir out there, but movies like this and The Empty Man scratch an itch so well. The high contrast visual style of noir and the bleaker, cynical outlook, also of noir, fit like a glove with horror's common sensibilities and ideas. I think there's a tremendous sense of doom and dread, and an unseen sort of doom and dread as well. There's a lot of great shadowy spaces and shots of strange menaces, and the monster itself is maybe a little bit silly at some points, but also a really great otherworldly sight at others. But I won't say what specifically it is, but I love the way the climax is delivered as well. So I think the particular combination of styles makes this especially unique for me and memorable, and something I cherish a lot. And also I think the difference between the UK and the US cuts are very instructive for the kinds of things that you can leave in to create a different feeling in the film. Because the US cut, I believe, is 83 minutes. The UK cut is 99, if I remember right. And the US cut feels much faster, a little bit more humorous at points. And I think it's interesting to see those differences side by side if you watch both. Number 8, will success spoil Rock Hunter? An ad man wants a sex symbol to endorse a lipstick, but in exchange, she wants him to pretend to be her lover. This is a charmingly self-aware, gag-a-minute satire of the advertising industry. You immediately understand what kind of film you're walking into with the distinctive opening. I could watch an entire movie of the fake product bitches. The gags are so good, so diverse. It's got, your visual gags, dialogue gags, music gags, all types of gags. Nothing gets repetitive because they're all so different. I love Tony Randall in the lead role, especially for his great physical performance in the film, but no one is dragging anything down. Everyone is contributing. This is a relatively short summary of the film, but it's hard to describe comedy and the film's comedic sensibilities. It's hilarious, and it's a joy to watch. Number 7 is A Face in the Crowd. Lonesome Rhodes ascends from an unknown man to a media superstar with the help of Sarah Lawrence, the woman who discovers him. I would consider this the first thematically thought-provoking movie on this list, or at least on the top 10, since I named The Seventh Seal as an honorable mention. This is an oddly similar film to Rock Hunter, in a sense, because both deal with marketing and selling in different ways. This is a sober film, and it's more of a warning, one that turns out to be very relevant and is actually fairly timeless. People are always tools in the hands of greater interests. And Lonesome has periods where he's altruistic, he has periods where he thinks he's the greatest, but no matter what stage he's at, he is being leveraged for greater interest, for marketing, for an agenda. And you also have an idea of people wanting to be sold something to make them superior. People want to feel superior. Many ads in the film capitalize on this illusion, and much of the political vernacular is to that end as well. What people are sold is usually not what the product is. This is most visible in the politics and and it's an evergreen message in real life politics as well. People will take a palatable product because that's just what they want. They want the end result. They want to feel a certain way. They want to feel valuable and worthy. And unfortunately, a great way to make people feel that way is to diminish other people in comparison. It's a lot easier than self-improvement. It's a sobering movie, certainly one that prompts in me plenty of thought about the way people operate. And it's also got a fantastic third act, maybe the best third act of any of these movies I'll talk about today. Number 6 is Knights of Cabiria. A woman, Cabiria, tries to find happiness in a cynical world full of ups and crushing downs in her life. The whole film is driven by Giulietta Messina's performance as Cabiria. She's so full of life. She has such a skill in communicating her happiness, even if it's tempered by other emotions. She can't quite believe moments where she's becoming happy. She's got such expressive eyes, and her character is reinforced well through the form, such as the costuming choice to give her those sloppy socks throughout, no matter what situation she's in, no matter what outfits. I think another most important factor is the music. She travels through different regions and settings. All the while, the music is supporting these changes, and it is revealing the joy and bringing out her character along the way. There's a reason, many reasons really, that Fellini is one of the greats. But one of those is the tenderness and the humanity and the beauty of the worlds he sets his eyes on. And this is one of those, just this world of Cabiria. And it's a beautiful place, despite the tragedy and because of the hope. Number 5 is Sweet Smell of Success. Publicist Sidney Falco is willing to do whatever it takes to get into the good graces of the powerful newspaperman, J.J. Hunsaker. Tony Curtis and Burt Lancaster play Falco and Hunsaker respectively. They're both fantastic. Curtis is such a despicable little weasel, and Lancaster is just an intimidating force of nature. And both are building on the foundation of a fantastic script with some all-timer one-liners.
Could I come in for a minute?
No, you're dead, son. Get yourself buried.
I think it takes some serious skill to have bad people as your protagonists and still have the audience enjoy the watch in the meantime. This film pulls it off spectacularly. The legendary James Wong Howe shot this film, and he gives it an additional sense of energy with a great feeling for movement, as well as supporting it with some nice noir lighting. The jazzy score is awesome, and it's a fun, caustic ride where you somehow enjoy watching these despicable people while also rooting for their downfall. It's a seriously impressive achievement across the board in my book. Number 4 is What's Opera, Doc? This is a Looney Tunes production wherein Elmer and Bugs act out Wagner's Siegfried. And yeah, Looney Tunes can absolutely stand its ground against the titans of cinema. I think the pitch here is pretty simple. It's 7 minutes for one, easy to watch. I think everyone still knows Looney Tunes, so that's what this is. You don't need to be familiar with the source material to enjoy it. There is awesome art direction in the environments. I think they're so imaginative and emotive, and it's funny. It's funny to hear drama transposed into this cartoony dialect with these voices that we recognize from Elmer and Bugs. Number 3 is 12 Angry Men. A jury meets to decide on the verdict at a murder trial. Only one member votes not guilty. This is a common entry point into older cinema for people who do not normally watch old movies. This could be due to the relatively quick pacing, perhaps the timeless ideas, the fact that it's just really good. But for whatever reason, this is the 3rd highest rated movie on Letterboxd. So if for some reason you're still watching this list and you do not watch old movies, I would suggest this is an entry point. This is 12 dudes in a room talking about justice and talking about the case, and it's riveting. Henry Fonda is perfect in his role as like this unassuming but steadfast advocate for the process. Everyone else feels distinct as characters, the other jurors, and they perform those characters suitably for their purposes. So much of the film relies on the talking, and you need to believe that the people talking are, real characters. Not only do they feel real, but I think so many of them feel like they carry a distinct life lesson with them. When you try to discuss an urgent issue with someone, you never know exactly what you're going to be discussing. Sometimes people do genuinely need to be reasoned with. Sometimes you're arguing with someone about one thing, but not actually about that thing. It's about something else. Sometimes people don't care, and maybe they need to be bullied a little bit into caring. Sometimes you just don't know what someone's true stance is until they feel safe enough to be vulnerable. Sometimes people need to understand the consequences of what they believe. You just don't know. These lessons are all here in the movie, and I think it's a fantastic showcase of how flexible people need to be in discussing important things. You shouldn't be backing down, but you should understand how to approach people. Number 2 is the Notti Bianche. A middle-aged man meets a young woman who is waiting on a canal bridge for her lover's return. This is a gorgeous movie aesthetically. Some of the best environmental work I've ever seen in a movie. Incredibly, this movie's town was built on a soundstage. The buildings have such a wonderful sense of age and texture to them. And on top of that, this is a sterling example of the interaction between cinematography and production design. Lighting is solely under the domain of the cinematographer, and so many scenes have wonderful visual interactions between environmental pieces and the lighting. The overall lighting style is pretty high contrast, which one might associate with noir, or even before then poetic realism, and this film certainly carries many notes of poetic realism with it, even outside of the lighting. Maria Schell is fantastic in her lead role. She's a beacon of joy. Who could blame Mario for falling for her? And this also has one of the best dance sequences in cinema history. And it's beautiful, it's tender, it's human. Can't recommend it enough. And number one is The Cranes Are Flying. Talked about this more in this video over here. The Cranes Are Flying is about an engaged couple who are split up as enlistment starts for World War II. Veronica moves in with her fiance's family and waits for him to come home. This might be my favorite cinematography period. This is tied in with great blocking, both from the actor and the cameras, great lighting, and just a fantastic directorial vision overall. No spoilers, but it has two of my favorite visual sequences ever in it. It's an emotional wrecking ball. Tatiana Samoilova is so good. Her character is so tragic and so likable, which of course just makes the tragedy even weightier. It's unique to have this sort of film focused on the people left behind, but it makes sense and it works. And those big emotional beats have excellent dynamics too. They hit, they resonate, and they don't crowd each other out. And I think this is a truly singular work, and I will see precious few films in my life that hit as impressively as this one does.